Hello, I'm Rachel with the Cure Starts Now, and I am in Sydney, Australia, one of the epicenters of brain tumor research in the world. And I am at the Minderoo Children's Cancer Center with Dr. Maria Tsoli. Hello, how are you today?
Hello, nice to meet you and welcome to Australia.
Thank you.
It's wonderful to have you here.
And we're so excited to tour the labs today and to be at your facility. But just have a couple of questions for you. I know in the past 20 years, Australia has experienced a lot of growth in brain tumor research. And from your point of view, what are the factors that have contributed to that success that you see in Australia and here at your lab?
Yes, indeed, actually, I can definitely say that Australia has really kind of emerged as a hub for pediatric cancer research. And we've been having the last sort of 5 to 10 years really a growth in the number of research teams that have actually been focusing on pediatric neuro-oncology, trying to understand how, it's the biology of the brain tumors and trying to find novel therapies. And I have to admit, it's been really the support of a lot of philanthropic funding that has actually allowed us to actually do this work and to be able to expand our preclinical work. And it's sort of these sort of collaborations that we have now within Australia and within internationally. And you can see that, with the number of publications that are coming out, with a lot of presentations in international conferences, that has really, and also the fact that we have a lot more clinical trials now that are offered for children with pediatric brain tumors, and especially DMG. And if it wasn't really for a lot of the philanthropic funding, I don't think we would have been anywhere near where we are at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Could you share a little bit about the impact of funding from the Cure Starts Now and the DIPG Collaborative specifically on your work here?
Goodness, I have to admit that the DIPG Collaborative and all of the foundations that make of it, the Cure Starts Now, has really played a very big role for my research. The research of my team, because I have a lot of young and emerging scientists, a lot of more researchers are actually in CCI that are working with DMG. And of course, if it wasn't for the support, we wouldn't have been able to do all the preclinical work that we've been doing now, whether it's from the development of new DIPG models, to finding novel therapies, to trying to understand how DIPG influences the microenvironment, why drug treatments don't get across into the brain. So these are kind of questions that we've been asking for many, many years. And that really has helped us a lot to progress our research. And now we're kind of getting to the point where we have a lot more to offer, and there are a lot more clinical trials that are actually now led by Australians.
Wow, that's really exciting. And looking forward to the future, what are some things we can expect to come out of the lab or the institute here?
There's quite a lot of exciting research that I'm really looking forward, in the next few years. Just a couple of things I would like to highlight is, one is our team has identified a very sort of specific class of epigenetic inhibitors that DMG cells are very sensitive, and which we published recently. What we understand now from these epigenetic combinations is that they seem to kind of also awaken the immune system. So what my team is currently working is trying to integrate this epigenetic combination with immunotherapy, like GD2 CAR-T trials that are now offered internationally for a lot of the DMG patients. So we really hope by combining those two that this treatment strategy will be even more effective. Another thing that I'd like to highlight is we understand that, and it has to do with the blood-brain barrier, and we know that DMG tumors are actually working exceptionally hard to try to keep the integrity of the blood-brain barrier, and essentially this is exactly what keeps most of the treatments out of the brain. So what my research team has found out is there are specific pathways in the blood-brain barrier that seem to be impacted by the DMG tumors. And what we want to do now is we want to develop what we call blood-brain barrier modulators. And the goal is actually in the next few years to be able to use those modulators to manipulate the blood-brain barrier so that we can get the treatments across to the brain and into the tumor.
That's exciting. It's really encouraging to see you and other scientists pursuing new, innovative ways to address DMG and DIPG. So thank you for all that you do.
Thank you very much for your support. I appreciate it. Without it, we wouldn't have been anywhere where we are today. Thank you.
Yeah. And to end with one last question, if you weren't a scientist, what would you be in another life, or if you weren't a scientist, what would you be?
That's a good question. I think, to be honest with you, since I was a little girl, I wanted to be a scientist. At the time when I was about 12 or 13, actually, I went to my parents and I told them that I wanted to become a marine biologist. So, and when I came to Australia and I realized that this country is surrounded by sharks, I realized that no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to stay inland and I'm just going to become a cancer scientist. So I have to admit that honestly there was never a plan B for me, which sounds very boring, but this is the reality. This is me. I always wanted to be a scientist. So.
Awesome. Well, obviously your passion, and we're thankful that you're here in this field.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.